Hello, friends. If you're curious about the movie Angel Has Fallen, 2019, you're in the perfect place. Don't forget to give this video a quick like, it really helps us out. And if you're new here, hit subscribe to stay updated on all the latest movie deep dives. Let's jump right in. In Angel Has Fallen, the high-octane action film directed by Waugh, we are thrust into a heart-pounding story that tests the limits of endurance, loyalty, and survival. A part of the Has Fallen trilogy, this installment is not just about explosive set pieces and intense action sequences. It's also a gripping psychological thriller that challenges the very fabric of trust, betrayal, and redemption. The movie dives into the life of Mike Banning, the loyal Secret Service agent who has become a trusted protector of the president. But in this story, the line between hero and villain blurs, and the stakes reach new heights. Angel Has Fallen takes us on a wild ride, one filled with twists, heart-pounding moments, and a desperate race against time. The movie opens with a quiet but intense moment. Mike Banning, a man who has seen his fair share of death and destruction, is on a routine assignment to safeguard President Alan Trumbull. But when a drone attack targets the president, everything goes wrong in the blink of an eye. The scene is chaotic: explosions, gunfire, and the desperate scramble for survival. Banning, as always, does his job with precision, getting the president out of harm's way. It's a high-stakes operation that sets the tone for the entire movie. But what's interesting here is that, unlike the previous two installments in the series, this film doesn't immediately give us the standard good versus bad conflict. Instead, we're introduced to a more personal, more dangerous battle, one within Banning himself. The action that follows is relentless, but it's the emotional core of the story that catches our attention. After saving the president from the attack, Banning is faced with the consequences of his actions. The toll of years of service, both physical and mental, has begun to take its toll on him. He's struggling with chronic pain from his years of fighting, a subtle but ever-present reminder that even the strongest of men can break. But it's his deep sense of loyalty to his country and the president that keeps him going. Still, he is quietly haunted by the dangers he's faced, and it's clear that there's more going on beneath the surface. Then, just as it seems that Banning is beginning to recover, the plot takes a sharp turn. Banning is framed for the assassination attempt on President Trumbull. He is targeted by the very people he has worked for and betrayed by those closest to him. Suddenly, he finds himself on the run, not only from the people he swore to protect but from the entire country. The film does a masterful job of taking a character we thought we knew and flipping the script. Banning, the protector, is now the hunted. This shift in perspective is a key element of the film, and it pushes the stakes to an all-time high. As Banning goes on the run, trying to clear his name, the tension and suspense reach new levels. He is hunted by his own government, with his every move tracked and his life hanging by a thread. But he's not alone. He's joined by an unlikely ally, his father, Clay Banning, played by the legendary Nick Nolte. Clay is a former military man who has lived off the grid for years, hiding away from the world. He's rough, unpredictable, and carrying his own demons, but his bond with his son is undeniable. This dynamic between the two men adds an emotional depth to the story, as Banning must not only fight for his life but also reconcile with his past and the family he's long been estranged from. The plot takes on a new dimension as Banning and his father work together to uncover the true conspiracy behind the attack. It's a game of cat and mouse, with Banning using all of his skills to stay one step ahead of his pursuers. The film introduces a complex network of people involved in the conspiracy: politicians, mercenaries, and covert operatives, each with their own motivations and secrets. The stakes escalate with every new revelation, and the tension is palpable as Banning races to expose the truth. One of the key twists that drives the plot forward is the realization that not everything is as it seems. As Banning digs deeper, he discovers that the conspiracy goes much higher than he initially thought. His faith in the government, his allies, and even himself is shaken. Trust becomes a fragile commodity, and every moment spent on the run is fraught with danger. The deeper Banning goes, the more he discovers about the true power players behind the assassination attempt. He's no longer just fighting to survive. He's fighting for justice, for his name, for the president, and for the country he has always served with honor. Throughout the film, we see Banning's character evolve from a stoic agent to a man who must confront his own vulnerabilities. The physical pain he's enduring becomes a metaphor for the emotional wounds he's carrying. As he faces betrayal and loss, he must also reckon with his own past and the choices he's made. This introspective journey gives the film a richness that sets it apart from other action thrillers. It's not just about explosions and chase scenes, it's about a man's fight to protect what he loves, even when everything seems stacked against him. As the film heads toward its climax, the tension builds to a fever pitch. The conspiracy that has been simmering throughout the movie begins to come to light in explosive ways. Secrets are uncovered, alliances are tested, and Banning must make the ultimate sacrifice in order to expose the truth. The stakes are no longer just about saving himself, they're about saving his country from those who would destroy it. In these final moments, the film's themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and redemption come into sharp focus. But the twist that leaves the audience reeling comes at the very end. Just when it seems like Banning has won and the conspiracy has been unraveled, a final shocking revelation turns everything on its head. The true mastermind behind the attack is revealed, and it's someone no one could have expected. This revelation is a game-changer, forcing Banning to re-evaluate everything he thought he knew about the world he's been fighting to protect. It's a final twist that will leave audiences thinking long after the credits roll, but the twist that leaves the audience reeling comes at the very end. Just when it seems like Banning has won and the conspiracy has been unraveled, a final shocking revelation turns everything on its head. The true mastermind behind the attack is revealed, and it's someone no one could have expected. This revelation is a game-changer, forcing Banning to re-evaluate everything he thought he knew about the world he's been fighting to protect. It's a final twist that will leave audiences thinking long after the credits roll. In conclusion, Angel Has Fallen, 2019, is a masterful blend of action, suspense, and psychological depth. It takes a familiar character, Mike Banning, and pushes him to his limits, testing his strength, his loyalty, and his ability to survive. With intense action sequences, surprising twists, and an emotional journey that runs deep, the film keeps audiences engaged from start to finish. Angel Has Fallen starts with a bang, both figuratively and literally, as it opens with a high-stakes action sequence that sets the tone for what's to come. Mike Banning, once again, is tasked with the utmost responsibility, protecting President Alan Trumbull. He's the president's most trusted agent, a veteran in the line of duty, and someone who has saved the day countless times before. But this mission is different. As the president and his security team are en route to a location, a sudden attack from drones swoops in with a relentless barrage. The chaos that ensues is intense. There are explosions, gunfire, and the frantic scramble to get the president out of harm's way. Mike is in the thick of it, his every move calculated, determined to keep the leader of the free world safe at all costs. Amidst the chaos, Mike's years of experience shine through. He's calm, collected, and methodical. He makes the right calls, evades danger, and ensures the president's safety. But as the dust settles, something's off. Mike, who had previously been a steadfast protector, starts to show cracks. The weight of his role begins to sink in, and we begin to see a man who's exhausted, physically and emotionally drained by the toll of constant danger. This opening sequence isn't just about action, it sets up a deeper conflict that will unfold throughout the rest of the movie. Mike Banning is not as invincible as he once seemed. The president survives the attack, but it's clear that Mike is beginning to feel the effects of his service. He's dealing with constant back pain, the physical strain of his years in the field, and the mental exhaustion of a job that requires him to put his life on the line every single day. It's a subtle but crucial detail, as it establishes Mike's vulnerability early on in the movie. He's a hero who's been through a lot, but he's no longer at the top of his game. He's feeling the wear and tear, and it's starting to show. He's a man on the edge, and that sets the stage for the twists to come. After the drone attack, we're introduced to a more personal aspect of Mike's life. He's not just a Secret Service agent, he's also a husband and a father. He returns home to his wife, Leah, and their young daughter. There's a sense of normalcy in these moments, a stark contrast to the chaos of his day-to-day job. However, the cracks in Mike's facade are still there. He's tired, both mentally and physically, and it's clear that the constant pressure of being a protector is taking a toll on his home life. The dynamic between Mike and his wife hints at the strain his career has caused on their relationship, and it's a theme that will become even more prominent as the story progresses. However, just as Mike is beginning to take a breath, the film takes a sudden and shocking turn. Banning, the man who's always been the protector, becomes the target. He's framed for the very attack he worked so hard to prevent. In one of the film's most shocking twists, Mike finds himself falsely accused of attempting to assassinate President Trumbull. Suddenly, the hunter becomes the hunted. It's a disorienting moment, as we followed Mike through countless battles and life-or-death situations, only to see him now on the run from the very people he once worked for. The suddenness of this betrayal is a key turning point, and it propels the plot into new and exciting territory. With the weight of a false accusation bearing down on him, Mike is forced to go underground, relying on his training and instincts to stay one step ahead of the law and clear his name. It's a race against time as he tries to figure out who's behind the conspiracy and why he's being framed. As the film unfolds, it becomes clear that Mike's life is not only in danger, but that the conspiracy he's entangled in goes much deeper than he initially realized. The people he thought he could trust are no longer reliable, and the world he knew has suddenly turned upside down. Mike's journey is made even more complicated when he reconnects with his estranged father, Clay Banning, played by the legendary Nick Nolte. Clay is a retired military man who has lived off the grid for years, avoiding any connection with the outside world. He's rough around the edges, and his relationship with Mike is strained, but when Mike seeks him out in the middle of his fugitive status, the two are forced to work together. Their interactions are tense at first, filled with unresolved anger and bitterness from the past. However, as they spend more time together, a bond begins to form between them, and the film's emotional depth starts to emerge. It's not just about action and suspense, it's also about family, trust, and reconciliation. The father-son dynamic is one of the film's strongest elements. Clay's unconventional methods and rough exterior clash with Mike's more calculated and disciplined nature, but through their shared experience, they begin to understand each other in ways they never have before. The tension between them adds an emotional layer to the film that gives the action scenes greater stakes. Mike is no longer just fighting for his life, he's fighting for his family and his legacy. And Clay, despite his tough exterior, becomes a pivotal ally in helping Mike uncover the truth behind the assassination attempt. As the film progresses, Mike begins to piece together the conspiracy against him. The trail leads him to a network of mercenaries, rogue operatives, and shadowy figures who have their own agendas. The political intrigue deepens, and the audience is constantly kept on edge, unsure of who to trust. The movie plays with the idea of loyalty and betrayal, constantly blurring the lines between who's good and who's bad. The twists keep coming, and just when Mike thinks he's close to uncovering the truth, another revelation takes place, sending him down a new and unexpected path. The film also delves into the psychological toll of being in such a high-pressure environment. Mike's physical pain from his injuries becomes symbolic of the emotional scars he carries from his years of service. His mind is constantly racing, analyzing every situation, questioning every relationship. The constant paranoia and mistrust that come with being on the run add an extra layer of intensity to the film. There's a sense of isolation that follows Mike as he tries to clear his name, and it's palpable throughout the first part of the film. By the end of this section of the movie, Mike is no closer to solving the conspiracy, but he has made significant strides in understanding the true nature of the forces working against him. His journey has taken him from being the protector to being the hunted, and as he faces danger at every turn, he begins to realize that the only way he can clear his name is by confronting the powerful individuals behind the plot. The stakes have never been higher, and the pressure is mounting with each passing moment. As the film moves forward, Mike's character is tested in ways that will push him to his breaking point. The first part of the film sets up the conflict, introduces key relationships, and prepares the audience for the explosive action and shocking twists to come. As the action continues to build, it's clear that Angel Has Fallen is more than just a typical action movie. It's a story of redemption, sacrifice, and the cost of loyalty. The first half of the film expertly blends high-octane action with emotional depth, setting the stage for a thrilling ride that will keep audiences on the edge of their seats. The film also delves deeper into the theme of redemption. Mike's journey has always been about protecting others, but now, as he faces the consequences of being framed for a crime he didn't commit, it becomes clear that his path is also about seeking redemption for his past mistakes. Throughout the film, Mike has been depicted as a man who is constantly on the edge, struggling with his own physical and emotional burdens. This part of the film pushes him further into a place of reckoning, where he must come to terms with the choices he's made and the person he has become. His relationship with his father plays a crucial role in this process, as their shared experiences force Mike to reflect on his own identity, his motivations, and his desire for atonement. The resolution comes at a frenetic pace as the final confrontation between Mike and the mastermind unfolds. The setting is tense, the stakes are at their highest, and the action reaches its peak. Every decision Mike makes in this sequence is a matter of life and death, and he must rely on every ounce of training, intuition, and instinct he possesses to overcome the odds. As the confrontation reaches its climax, the emotional weight of the film builds to a crescendo, and the payoff is both thrilling and satisfying. In the end, Mike is able to clear his name, exposing the conspiracy and bringing the culprits to justice. But the victory is bittersweet. The toll of the journey is evident in Mike's weary expression, the physical pain he still carries, and the emotional scars he's accumulated along the way. The film doesn't offer a clean, perfect ending. Instead, it leaves the viewer with a sense of closure mixed with the recognition that Mike's life will never be the same. He's a man who has sacrificed so much, and while he may have saved the day, the personal cost is significant. The final moments of the film offer a glimpse of hope. Mike is able to reunite with his wife and daughter, but the shadow of his past will always linger. The film ends on a note of reflection, as Mike looks ahead, knowing that the future will be full of challenges and uncertainties. It's a poignant and thought-provoking conclusion that leaves the audience reflecting on the themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and redemption. In many ways, Angel Has Fallen is not just about action and suspense, it's about the emotional journey of its protagonist. Mike Banning is a character who embodies both strength and vulnerability, and the second half of the film brings these elements to the forefront. As the plot unravels, the audience is taken on a roller coaster ride of action, suspense, and emotional depth, with the resolution offering a sense of closure but also leaving room for further reflection. The twists and turns in the story, combined with the character-driven narrative, create a film that is both thrilling and thought-provoking, leaving a lasting impact on those who watch it. Mike Banning, the central character of Angel Has Fallen, is a man defined by his duty, burdened by his past, and driven by a desire to protect those he loves. His character arc is complex and deeply intertwined with themes of sacrifice, redemption, and loyalty. At the outset, Mike is a seasoned Secret Service agent, known for his unwavering commitment to protecting President Alan Trumbull. But beneath the surface of this tough, no-nonsense persona lies a man who has lived through traumatic events and is struggling with the emotional weight of his actions. Mike's journey in the film is one of self-discovery and reckoning. Throughout the story, we see him navigating the challenges of being framed for an assassination attempt on President Trumbull. He's a man who is constantly on the run, grappling with the accusations against him and fighting to clear his name. But his journey is not just about proving his innocence, it's also about facing the ghosts of his past and coming to terms with the choices that have shaped his life. Mike's internal struggle is as significant as the external one he faces in the film, and it is this dual conflict that makes his character so compelling. From the very beginning, Mike is portrayed as a highly capable, almost invincible figure, someone who has been trained to handle any crisis. He's a natural leader, exuding confidence and authority, and his instincts are sharp. However, as the plot unfolds and he finds himself falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit, this confident exterior begins to crack. Mike's vulnerability comes to the forefront as he faces betrayal from those he once considered allies. He's forced into a position of extreme isolation, not just physically, but emotionally as well. His inner turmoil, a direct result of the betrayal, is palpable. This is a man who has always prided himself on his integrity and loyalty, yet he finds himself at the mercy of a conspiracy that challenges everything he believes in. One of the key elements of Mike's character is his relationship with President Trumbull. Their bond is one of mutual respect and trust, built over years of working together. Mike's dedication to Trumbull goes beyond his professional duty. There's a personal connection that runs deep. This connection is put to the test when Mike is accused of trying to kill the president, and it's clear that Mike's motivation for clearing his name is not just about self-preservation. He feels a deep sense of responsibility toward Trumbull, and the idea of betraying that trust weighs heavily on him. His loyalty to the president, coupled with his need to redeem himself, creates a powerful emotional driving force for the character throughout the film. Mike's sense of honor and duty is constantly in conflict with the harsh realities of his situation. He's a man who believes in doing the right thing, even when the odds are stacked against him. But his journey is not without its flaws. There are moments of desperation where Mike makes choices that may not be entirely virtuous. These moments of moral ambiguity add depth to his character, showing that even someone as dedicated and heroic as Mike can be broken by circumstance. His imperfections make him a more relatable and human character, one that audiences can root for even when he stumbles. The relationship between Mike and his father, Clay Banning, is another significant aspect of his character. Clay is a man who has chosen a very different path in life. He's a former military man who now lives off the grid, disconnected from society and the people he used to know. The strained relationship between father and son is marked by years of distance and resentment. Mike feels abandoned by his father, who was never there for him during his formative years. Their reunion, forced by necessity, is fraught with tension. Clay represents everything Mike resents about his past. He's a man who walked away from responsibility and has spent the years since living on his own terms. The dynamic between the two men is complex. On one hand, Mike resents his father for his absence, but on the other, he finds himself relying on Clay's survival skills and wisdom. As the two men work together to uncover the truth behind the assassination attempt, their relationship begins to evolve. Slowly, Mike comes to terms with the pain and abandonment he felt as a child, and the two men find a way to reconnect, though it's clear that their bond will never be perfect. Mike's relationship with his wife, Leah, is also pivotal to his character development. Leah represents Mike's emotional anchor. She's the one person who sees beyond his tough exterior and understands the weight he carries. Their marriage is tested when Mike is framed for the assassination attempt, and Leah becomes both a source of strength and a reminder of what's at stake. The emotional toll of Mike's career and the dangerous life he leads has already strained their relationship before the events of Angel has fallen. The film explores the tension between Mike's personal life and his professional responsibilities, with Leah often caught in the middle. However, as the plot progresses, we see that Mike's determination to protect her becomes one of his primary motivations, fueling his desire to bring the people responsible for the conspiracy to justice. The theme of redemption is central to Mike's character arc. Mike is a man who has made his share of mistakes, and he is haunted by the consequences of those choices. He has sacrificed so much in the name of duty, but the price he's paid has been high, especially in terms of his relationships. His quest for redemption is not just about clearing his name. It's about reconciling with the people he's hurt and the mistakes he's made along the way. Mike's journey is one of self-forgiveness and growth. As he faces the challenges in the latter half of the film, he realizes that he can't change the past, but he can work to make things right moving forward. This theme of redemption is powerful because it speaks to the universal human desire for second chances and the hope that even the most broken individuals can find a path to healing. Another key trait of Mike's character is his resilience. From the moment he's framed for the assassination attempt, he faces immense odds. His career is on the line, his freedom is at risk, and his life is in constant danger. But Mike's determination to survive and fight for justice is unyielding. Even when he's cornered and betrayed, he refuses to give up. This resilience is not just about physical strength or skill. It's about his unshakable belief in doing the right thing, no matter the cost. It's this core belief that drives him to continue his mission, even when the world around him seems to be falling apart. Mike's resilience is both a strength and a vulnerability. While it allows him to survive in the most harrowing circumstances, it also forces him to face uncomfortable truths about himself and the world around him. As the story progresses, we see Mike's character evolve, shaped by the events unfolding around him. His growth is gradual, but it's powerful. He begins to move away from the rigid, duty-bound figure he once was and starts to embrace a more nuanced understanding of the world. His relationship with his father, his wife, and his own past all come together to create a more complete picture of who Mike is. He is a man who has struggled, suffered, and fought for the people he loves. By the end of the film, Mike has not only cleared his name but has also come to terms with the person he is and the path he has chosen. His redemption, while not perfect, is hard-won and meaningful. In many ways, Mike Banning is the embodiment of the modern action hero, someone who is capable of incredible feats of physical strength and resilience but is also deeply human, filled with doubts, regrets, and vulnerabilities. His journey in Angel Has Fallen is a reflection of the internal struggles that so many people face, grappling with the consequences of their actions, the desire for redemption, and the need to protect what they love. Mike's character is not just a product of the action genre. He is a deeply relatable figure whose emotional journey resonates with the audience on a profound level. Through his trials and triumphs, Mike becomes a symbol of resilience, redemption, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The Making of Angel Has Fallen, 2019, is a tale as action-packed as the movie itself. From behind-the-scenes moments to unusual occurrences on set, the production of the film had its own share of surprising facts and challenges that have become part of its story. For a movie that focuses on a relentless pursuit of justice, betrayal, and redemption, the production involved its own share of twists, turns, and revelations that few would have expected. Let's take a deep dive into some of the strangest and most fascinating facts that emerged from the making of Angel Has Fallen, starting with the unexpected creative choices that shaped its unique atmosphere. The first surprising fact that stands out in the production of Angel Has Fallen is the decision to scale down the high-octane action that defined the previous installments of the Has Fallen series. The previous films, Olympus Has Fallen, 2013, and London Has Fallen, 2016, were known for their intense, large-scale action sequences, explosions, hand-to-hand combat, and intense shootouts. However, in Angel Has Fallen, director Rick Roman Waugh and the production team made a conscious effort to focus more on the emotional stakes and psychological tension, leading to a more grounded and suspenseful narrative. This decision was not just a creative shift but also a reflection of the changing times in the action genre, where character-driven stories were starting to take center stage over sheer spectacle. This deliberate choice made the film feel more intimate and human, despite its thrilling plot, and helped to differentiate it from its predecessors. Another fascinating tidbit about the film is how Gerard Butler, who reprises his role as Mike Banning, underwent a serious physical transformation to embody his character. Known for his dedication to the action genre, Butler pushed his physical limits to portray a character who is not only skilled in combat but also emotionally vulnerable. In order to prepare for the grueling action scenes, Butler spent months working with his personal trainer, focusing on both strength training and endurance. However, what truly set this production apart was the extensive amount of time Butler spent in training for the more complex hand-to-hand combat scenes. The choreography for these sequences was designed to feel realistic, with an emphasis on precision and technique rather than just flashiness. Butler's commitment to making the fight scenes feel authentic meant that he often spent hours rehearsing with the stunt team, which included practicing intricate moves to ensure they were captured flawlessly on camera. His dedication paid off, as the action sequences in the film were both thrilling and grounded, capturing the tension and stakes of the story. Interestingly, the film's portrayal of Mike Banning as a character struggling with his own vulnerabilities was influenced by real-life experiences that Gerard Butler had during filming. On set, Butler faced a series of injuries that left him dealing with back pain, making it difficult to perform some of the more physically demanding scenes. It was during this challenging time that the film's creative team, including Waugh, decided to incorporate Mike Banning's physical struggles into the narrative. The character's back pain, stemming from years of trauma and intense physical exertion, became a significant plot point. This unexpected real-life struggle gave the film a sense of authenticity and made the character's journey more relatable. In a way, Mike's pain mirrored Butler's own struggles, adding a layer of realism to the character that resonated with audiences. The production of Angel Has Fallen also had its fair share of logistical challenges, especially when it came to filming some of the more complex action scenes. One particularly intense moment in the movie involves a dramatic helicopter chase, which was no easy feat to pull off. The crew faced several obstacles in creating this heart-pounding sequence, from the challenges of working with such a large piece of machinery to the unpredictable weather conditions that made shooting the scenes even more difficult. In one instance, the production had to delay shooting due to high winds, which made it impossible to safely operate the helicopter for the scene. The sequence was filmed over multiple days, with meticulous planning and coordination required to ensure that each shot was captured accurately. It wasn't just about getting the shot, it was about doing so while maintaining the safety of the cast and crew. This particular sequence required the combined effort of the stunt team, the helicopter crew, and the director, all of whom worked tirelessly to bring the thrilling chase to life. The dedication and determination displayed during this shoot are a testament to the commitment of everyone involved in making Angel Has Fallen. An intriguing behind-the-scenes detail is the production's use of real military equipment and locations to enhance the film's authenticity. While many films rely on special effects and CGI to depict military equipment, Angel Has Fallen opted to use actual military assets wherever possible. The film's producers worked closely with the U.S. Department of Defense to secure access to real helicopters, military vehicles, and even military bases for filming. This cooperation not only added a sense of realism to the action sequences but also ensured that the military aspects of the story were portrayed accurately. The use of real military equipment allowed the filmmakers to capture the full scale of the action, giving the movie a level of authenticity that made the stakes feel even higher. Additionally, the film's stunning locations, such as the rugged landscapes and military installations, added a layer of depth to the narrative, further immersing the audience in the high-stakes world of Angel Has Fallen. One unexpected element of the production was the involvement of real-life former Secret Service agents, who were brought in to consult on the film. The filmmakers wanted to ensure that the portrayal of Secret Service agents was as realistic as possible, so they enlisted the help of these professionals to advise on everything from the character's behavior to the accuracy of the action scenes. This level of attention to detail helped to ground the film in reality, making it feel more authentic to audiences who may have had experience with the real-world security details depicted in the movie. These consultants were also instrumental in guiding the cast and crew in understanding the intricate procedures and protocols followed by the Secret Service, which added depth to the film's portrayal of these elite agents. Aside from the action and military elements, another fascinating behind-the-scenes fact about Angel Has Fallen involves the use of makeup and prosthetics to create the film's dramatic transformations. For instance, there is a particularly striking scene in which Mike Banning is shown recovering from a life-threatening injury. The film's makeup department worked tirelessly to create realistic wounds and scars, often using prosthetics and makeup techniques that required hours of preparation. In addition to these physical transformations, the makeup team also worked closely with Gerard Butler to ensure that his character's emotional and psychological journey was conveyed through subtle changes in his appearance. The combination of makeup, prosthetics, and meticulous attention to detail helped to make the transformation more believable, allowing audiences to connect with the character's struggles on a deeper level. There were also some lighter moments on set that became part of the film's production lore. One particularly fun aspect of the filming process was the camaraderie among the cast, especially between Gerard Butler and his co-star, Morgan Freeman. Freeman, who plays President Alan Trumbull, and Butler had a playful dynamic that helped to bring some levity to the intense atmosphere of the set. Their chemistry on screen translated into behind-the-scenes moments of laughter and camaraderie, with Freeman often offering advice and guidance to Butler on everything from acting to life in general. Their rapport became one of the standout features of the movie, and the mutual respect between the two actors added depth to their on-screen relationship. Finally, one of the most curious aspects of the film's production was the timing of its release. Angel Has Fallen hit theaters in 2019, just a few years after the release of the previous film in the series, London Has Fallen. The relatively quick turnaround between films raised eyebrows, as it was uncommon for action franchises to have such rapid releases. The filmmakers decided to move forward with Angel Has Fallen in part because of the series' popularity and the demand from audiences for more. The decision to release the film quickly after the previous installment was also a strategic one, capitalizing on the momentum of the series and the growing fan base. The success of Angel Has Fallen proved that the demand for action-packed thrillers wasn't slowing down, and the film's box office performance solidified its place as a key entry in the Has Fallen franchise. All of these behind-the-scenes stories, from the intense action sequences to the surprising interactions among the cast and crew, paint a picture of a production that was as thrilling as the movie itself. The dedication, hard work, and attention to detail that went into making Angel Has Fallen is a testament to the passion and commitment of everyone involved in the project. Despite the challenges, setbacks, and unexpected moments, the team behind the film succeeded in creating an action-packed thriller that resonated with audiences and left its mark on the genre. From the creative choices to the logistical challenges, the making of Angel Has Fallen is a story in itself. One that, much like the movie, is filled with twists, surprises, and unforgettable moments. Angel Has Fallen, 2019, continues the story of Mike Banning, a man constantly caught in the clash between duty and personal sacrifice. The third installment in the Has Fallen series, Angel Has Fallen, takes a more introspective approach than its predecessors, diving deep into its protagonist's psychological struggles while still maintaining the high-octane action that made the franchise popular. The film's thematic focus and emotional resonance distinguish it from the action-packed spectacle of the earlier films, making it a standout entry in the series. In exploring the critical perspectives of the film, there are several key events that not only shape the narrative but also elevate its impact, both thematically and emotionally. The first significant event in Angel Has Fallen revolves around the assassination attempt on President Alan Trumbull, Morgan Freeman. The movie opens with a daring attack on the president, with Mike Banning, Gerard Butler, being framed for the assassination attempt. This pivotal event sets the stage for the entire film and acts as a catalyst for the tension and conflict that follows. From a critical standpoint, the assassination attempt serves as a traditional action film hook, but what makes this moment particularly compelling is the film's exploration of the personal toll it takes on Banning. Unlike the action-packed set pieces that define many films in the genre, the way Angel Has Fallen delves into Banning's emotional and physical struggles adds a layer of depth that is often missing in other action franchises. At its core, Angel Has Fallen is about a man whose job and personal life are at odds with one another. Banning has spent years putting his body and mind through the ringer as a member of the Secret Service. He's a man who has sacrificed everything for his duty, but now he faces the repercussions of that sacrifice. The assassination attempt serves as a way to explore not just the action of saving the president but also the cost that comes with being a person who is constantly in harm's way. Banning's physical pain, both from past injuries and the weight of years of service, is a central theme. It creates a palpable sense of tension, as the audience is forced to question how much longer Banning can keep going before the strain breaks him down entirely. This personal struggle adds an emotional depth to the film that resonates with viewers who may have become accustomed to seeing characters like Banning simply as indestructible action heroes. The film's first major twist, in which Banning is framed for the assassination attempt on President Trumbull, is a turning point that elevates the film beyond the typical action fare. From this moment on, the audience is thrust into a world of deception, betrayal, and uncertainty. The framing of Banning as the villain gives the film an unexpected moral ambiguity that forces the viewer to question everything. At first, the idea that Banning could be behind such an attack seems almost impossible, especially considering his loyalty to the president and the sacrifices he has made for the country. However, as the plot unfolds, the audience begins to see cracks in the seemingly perfect facade of the action hero, which gives the film a critical edge. Banning's flight from the law, pursued by both his colleagues and law enforcement, becomes a journey of self-discovery. The physical toll he experiences, compounded by the betrayal of those he once trusted, creates a sense of isolation that drives the narrative forward. For a character who has spent his entire career protecting others, being hunted by those he once called allies is an emotional blow that adds complexity to his character. This internal conflict between being a protector and being the one in need of protection becomes one of the most significant themes in the film. It not only highlights the psychological struggles of Banning, but also the broader theme of personal sacrifice that runs throughout the story. This internal struggle, coupled with the action sequences, allows Angel Has Fallen to stand out in a genre often defined by external conflicts. The second major event that shapes the course of the film is Banning's realization that there is a deeper conspiracy at play. As he uncovers the truth about the assassination attempt, he discovers that the betrayal is not only personal but political. A shadowy figure within the U.S. government orchestrates the attack in a bid for power, and Banning must now navigate a world of corruption and deceit to uncover the truth and clear his name. This twist, in which Banning is not just a victim of a conspiracy but a key figure in uncovering it, shifts the film from a personal drama into a broader political thriller. The movie skillfully balances the personal and political, blending the personal struggles of Banning with a plot that critiques the nature of power, loyalty, and betrayal within the political sphere. From a critical perspective, the film's handling of this conspiracy is what ultimately elevates Angel Has Fallen from a typical action film to something more profound. The revelation of the conspiracy not only adds a layer of intrigue and suspense but also critiques the way political systems can be corrupted by power-hungry individuals. In the age of political unrest and distrust in government, Angel Has Fallen taps into a collective anxiety about the people in positions of power and the lengths they will go to maintain control. The film asks difficult questions about loyalty, duty, and the cost of protecting a system that may be broken. This thematic element adds weight to the action scenes, as the audience becomes more invested in the characters' motivations and the world they inhabit. One of the film's most significant and emotionally charged moments occurs when Banning finally confronts the person who betrayed him. In a tense and heart-pounding sequence, Banning faces off against the villain, who is revealed to be someone he once trusted. This moment is the culmination of the film's emotional arc, where Banning is forced to reckon with the choices he's made and the relationships he's sacrificed in the name of duty. The film's exploration of trust and betrayal reaches its peak in this scene, as Banning's personal journey intersects with the larger conspiracy at play. The payoff of this confrontation is not just about the physical showdown but about the emotional weight carried by Banning throughout the film. His willingness to fight for what's right, despite the personal cost, gives the film its emotional resonance. The film's final act delivers a climactic showdown that ties together all of the emotional and thematic threads established earlier in the story. Banning's redemption is achieved not through his physical prowess but through his willingness to confront his past mistakes and protect those he cares about. The resolution of the film is both satisfying and poignant, as Banning is able to clear his name and put the conspiracy to rest. However, the emotional depth of the film doesn't lie in the action or the plot twists but in the way Banning's journey is framed as a deeply personal one. It's a story about a man coming to terms with his own limitations, understanding the true cost of his choices, and finding redemption through sacrifice. Critically, Angel Has Fallen resonates because it doesn't just focus on the spectacle of action but also explores the psychological and emotional toll that a life of service exacts from its protagonist. The film is about a man who is broken, both physically and emotionally, and must rise above his circumstances to find the strength to protect those he loves. The film's success lies in its ability to marry traditional action movie thrills with a compelling character-driven narrative. From the framing of Banning as the primary suspect in the assassination attempt to his eventual uncovering of a vast political conspiracy, the film uses its plot twists to create tension and suspense. However, it's the film's emotional resonance and exploration of the cost of duty that makes it stand out. Angel Has Fallen is not just about saving the president or surviving a series of action sequences. It's about a man coming to terms with the sacrifices he has made in the name of duty, finding redemption, and ultimately protecting those who matter most. The film's critical reception reflects this dual focus on action and character development. While some critics praised the film's action sequences and plot twists, others highlighted its emotional depth and the way it challenged the typical action hero trope. The film's exploration of the personal cost of being a protector resonated with audiences who are often used to seeing invincible heroes who don't have to grapple with the consequences of their actions. By making Mike Banning a more complex, vulnerable character, Angel Has Fallen manages to create a sense of empathy for a character who would otherwise just be another action movie hero. Ultimately, Angel Has Fallen succeeds in being more than just another action film. It balances the spectacle with emotional depth and character development, making it a standout entry in the Has Fallen series. By focusing on themes of redemption, trust, betrayal, and personal sacrifice, the film delivers a story that not only entertains but also resonates emotionally with its audience. Through its twists, turns, and intense confrontations, the film explores the psychological and emotional toll of duty and loyalty, leaving a lasting impression long after the credits roll. The making of Angel Has Fallen, 2019, was just as intense and gripping as the action that unfolded on screen. From carefully planned stunts to unexpected behind-the-scenes mishaps, the production of this third installment in the Has Fallen series had its fair share of surprises. While fans marveled at the high-octane sequences and thrilling performances, what they didn't see was the incredible amount of effort, planning, and, at times, pure luck that went into making the film. The process of bringing Angel Has Fallen to life involved not just the actors and director but an entire team of dedicated crew members who worked tirelessly to ensure every explosion, fight scene, and dramatic moment looked and felt real. One of the most significant aspects of the film's production was the way it took a different approach from its predecessors. Unlike Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen, which featured large-scale attacks on major cities, Angel Has Fallen opted for a more personal and intimate story. This shift in focus meant that the production team had to rethink how they shot action scenes. Instead of relying heavily on CGI and elaborate set pieces in urban landscapes, the film leaned more on practical effects, real stunts, and up-close, gritty cinematography. The goal was to make the action feel as raw and realistic as possible, giving audiences a sense of immediacy and urgency in every scene. A huge part of making that realism work was the physical dedication of Gerard Butler, who once again stepped into the role of Secret Service agent Mike Banning. Butler, known for performing many of his own stunts, pushed himself even further in Angel Has Fallen. He spent months training with military experts and stunt coordinators to ensure that his movements, from gun handling to hand-to-hand combat, felt authentic. However, that dedication came at a price. During filming, Butler suffered several injuries, including a torn muscle and bruised ribs. Despite the pain, he continued filming, determined to maintain the intensity and physicality that fans expect from his character. His commitment to realism meant that many of the fight scenes in the film were shot with minimal cuts, capturing the raw energy of each confrontation. One of the most memorable action sequences in the film is the drone attack scene, where a fleet of weaponized drones ambushes President Trumbull and his security detail. This sequence was one of the most technically complex scenes to shoot, requiring a combination of practical explosions, CGI, and precise stunt choreography. The idea of using drones as a weapon was inspired by real-world advancements in military technology, adding a layer of unsettling realism to the attack. To ensure the sequence felt as intense as possible, the production team used real pyrotechnics and explosions, meaning that many of the reactions captured on camera were completely genuine. Some of the crew even admitted that the sudden bursts of fire and debris made them flinch, despite knowing what was coming. Another fascinating aspect of the film's production was its use of real locations. Instead of relying solely on studio sets, the filmmakers wanted to create an environment that felt immersive and believable. Large portions of the movie were filmed in Virginia and across various locations in the United Kingdom, including the stunning landscapes of Wales. The decision to shoot in these locations was not just for aesthetic reasons but also for logistical ones. The production team needed areas that could realistically double as remote hideouts, government facilities, and high-security zones. One particularly challenging location was a dense forest area where Banning goes into hiding. The crew had to work in difficult terrain, dealing with unpredictable weather conditions and natural obstacles that made filming incredibly demanding. The authenticity of Angel Has Fallen extended beyond just locations and stunts. The film's technical advisors included former military personnel and Secret Service experts who helped shape the accuracy of various scenes. They provided guidance on everything from tactical movements to the proper way to clear a room during a firefight. One of the most interesting pieces of advice given by these experts was about how real Secret Service agents react in a crisis. According to them, protecting the president isn't just about engaging threats, it's about knowing when to evacuate, when to take cover, and when to prioritize survival over confrontation. These small but crucial details added a level of authenticity that made the action sequences even more gripping. However, not everything on set was serious and intense. Despite the high-stakes action of the film, the cast and crew found ways to keep the atmosphere light during breaks. Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman, in particular, developed a strong friendship while filming. Between takes, Butler would often crack jokes or play pranks on Freeman, leading to moments of laughter that contrasted with the heavy tone of the movie. One of the funniest stories from the set involved a scene in which Butler had to carry Freeman during an escape sequence. On multiple takes, Freeman would pretend to be heavier than he actually was, forcing Butler to struggle more than necessary, much to the amusement of the crew. Another amusing behind-the-scenes moment came during the filming of a high-speed chase sequence. While shooting a scene where Banning is being pursued through the woods, the production team set up hidden cameras to capture the action from different angles. The film's post-production phase was just as crucial in shaping the final product. The editing team worked meticulously to balance fast-paced action with quieter, character-driven moments. One of the biggest challenges in post-production was making sure the film's pacing remained tight without sacrificing emotional depth. Director Rick Waugh wanted the film to have an intense rhythm while still allowing room for the audience to connect with Banning's personal struggles. This meant fine-tuning the editing to ensure that every moment of downtime served a purpose, whether it was to build suspense or to develop character relationships. The sound design of Angel Has Fallen also played a major role in its immersive experience. The sound team used a combination of real firearm recordings, environmental sounds, and digital enhancements to create a visceral auditory landscape. The drone attack scene, for example, required dozens of layered sounds to give the feeling of mechanical chaos, making the audience feel as though they were right in the middle of the ambush. Similarly, the quieter moments in the film, such as Banning's interactions with his father, played by Nick Nolte, used subtle background noises to create a sense of isolation and reflection. When it came to the film's music, composer David Buckley aimed to create a score that matched the film's mix of adrenaline-fueled action and emotional weight. The soundtrack blends orchestral arrangements with electronic elements, giving the film a modern, intense feel while still maintaining a sense of traditional action movie grandeur. Buckley specifically designed themes that would mirror Banning's emotional journey, with quieter, melancholic notes during introspective moments and powerful, driving compositions during fight sequences. The film's release was met with positive audience reactions, with many fans praising its grounded approach and intense action. While some critics pointed out similarities to classic action thrillers, the majority of viewers appreciated the way the film balanced spectacle with a deeper exploration of its main character. Despite being the third installment in a franchise, Angel Has Fallen managed to stand on its own, proving that even in a well-worn genre, strong storytelling and dedicated performances can still make a lasting impact. Looking back at the production of Angel Has Fallen, it's clear that the film's success was the result of meticulous planning, hard work, and a commitment to authenticity. From its high-energy stunts to its quieter, emotional beats, every aspect of the movie was carefully crafted to provide an engaging and immersive experience. The behind-the-scenes moments, whether they were challenges faced by the crew or humorous incidents between takes, only add to the film's legacy. In the end, Angel Has Fallen is not just another action film. It's a testament to the dedication and creativity of everyone involved in bringing it to life. The world of Angel Has Fallen is one of tension, urgency, and grit, and the way the film is crafted visually plays a crucial role in shaping that experience. From sweeping landscapes to tight, claustrophobic action sequences, The setting and cinematic elements work together to immerse the audience in the chaos surrounding Mike Banning. Unlike its predecessors, which unfolded in grand, highly public settings, first the White House in Olympus has fallen, then the heart of London in London has fallen. This installment takes a different approach, grounding the action in remote wilderness, secret hideouts, and government corridors where paranoia seeps into every frame. The shift in setting not only adds to the film's atmosphere but also reinforces the themes of betrayal, survival, and redemption. One of the most striking aspects of the film's visual design is how it contrasts natural landscapes with man-made environments. Much of the story unfolds in dense forests, abandoned locations, and safe houses, giving it a raw, almost survivalist feel. The lush greenery and untamed terrain where Banning finds himself on the run serve as both a refuge and a battlefield. Instead of towering city skylines and public landmarks under attack, the film places its protagonist in a setting where he is truly alone, hunted, and uncertain of who he can trust. The towering trees and uneven ground of the wilderness act as an extension of Banning's turmoil, unpredictable, dangerous, and filled with hidden threats. One particularly memorable setting is the remote survivalist compound where Banning's father, played by Nick Nolte, lives off the grid. This location, buried deep in the wilderness, is both a physical and metaphorical representation of the film's themes. It reflects a retreat from society, a place where those who have lost faith in the system go to disappear. The way the cinematography captures this space, cluttered with makeshift traps, hidden weapon caches, and signs of a man who has spent years preparing for an unseen enemy, adds to the film's tension. It feels real, lived in, and slightly unhinged, mirroring the fractured relationship between Banning and his father. Beyond the forests, Angel Has Fallen also utilizes government locations, hospitals, and high-security facilities to drive home the sense of conspiracy and mistrust. The scenes set in these locations are carefully framed to highlight power dynamics. Characters are often shown in confined, dimly lit rooms, the camera angles slightly tilted to create a sense of unease. This is especially evident in the sequences involving President Trumbull, Morgan Freeman, where the polished, professional environments contrast sharply with a looming sense of danger. The sterile, orderly nature of these locations only amplifies the feeling that something sinister is unfolding beneath the surface. Cinematographer Jules O'Loughlin plays a vital role in making these settings feel immersive. His use of lighting, color, and camera movement brings a sense of urgency to the film. One of the most effective techniques employed throughout Angel Has Fallen is the use of handheld camera work. Unlike the more controlled, steady shots of the previous films, this installment frequently relies on shaky, close-up framing to put the audience right in the middle of the action. Whether it's a high-speed chase through the woods or a brutal hand-to-hand fight in a darkened corridor, the camera's movements mimic Banning's own instability, making the audience feel every jolt and impact. The color palette of Angel Has Fallen is another key element in shaping its mood. The film leans heavily into muted earthy tones. Greens, browns, and grays dominate the outdoor sequences, reinforcing the raw, stripped-down nature of Banning's fight for survival. In contrast, the interior government settings feature colder, more clinical hues, with sterile blues and deep shadows emphasizing the bureaucratic machinery working against him. These deliberate choices in color grading subtly guide the viewer's emotions, shifting between warmth and coldness depending on the scene's stakes. One of the most visually striking sequences in the film is the drone attack that serves as the inciting incident. Here, the cinematography shifts from the grounded, naturalistic style seen elsewhere to something almost surreal. The bright, clear sky above the lake is suddenly filled with mechanical death as dozens of drones descend in coordinated precision. The camera work here is tight and frantic, cutting rapidly between close-ups of Banning's frantic reactions, wide shots of the chaos unfolding, and aerial perspectives that show the scale of the attack. The use of high-speed frame rates and digital enhancements makes the drones feel otherworldly, adding to the horror of the ambush. Lighting also plays a crucial role in setting the tone of the film. Many of the chase sequences and combat scenes take place in dimly lit environments, whether it's the flickering glow of a burning vehicle, the eerie moonlight filtering through the trees, or the harsh fluorescent glare of an interrogation room. These lighting choices create stark contrasts between light and shadow, visually reinforcing the film's central themes of deception and hidden threats. One particularly effective use of lighting comes in the film's climactic showdown. Flashes of gunfire illuminate the darkness, creating a strobe-like effect that adds to the chaos and unpredictability of the battle. The film's use of sound further enhances its cinematic impact. The sound design is meticulously crafted to heighten tension, from the deafening silence before an explosion to the crisp, sharp sounds of gunfire and hand-to-hand combat. The drone attack scene, for example, features a carefully layered soundscape that builds from a quiet, almost tranquil setting to a cacophony of whirring engines, rapid gunfire, and panicked shouts. The way sound is manipulated throughout the film ensures that every action beat hits with maximum impact. Camera angles also play a crucial role in emphasizing the intensity of Banning's journey. During the fight sequences, the camera remains close and intimate, rarely giving the audience a chance to catch their breath. There's an intentional claustrophobia to these shots, reinforcing the idea that Banning is always under siege, always just a step away from being overwhelmed. In contrast, moments of solitude, such as Banning recovering in the woods or reflecting on his injuries, feature wider shots, allowing more breathing room and emphasizing his isolation. The final act of the film, set in a heavily fortified hospital, combines all of these cinematic elements to create a gripping, high-stakes confrontation. The setting itself, a place meant for healing and protection, becomes a battleground, a visual contradiction that underscores the film's central conflict. The cinematography in these moments shifts between fluid tracking shots that follow Banning's movements and static, oppressive angles that highlight the overwhelming firepower of his enemies. The use of slow motion in key moments adds an extra layer of intensity, ensuring that every explosion, every desperate maneuver, and every near-fatal moment lingers just long enough to maximize suspense. Angel Has Fallen succeeds in creating a visually compelling experience by using every cinematic tool at its disposal. The carefully chosen settings, from the untamed wilderness to the cold sterility of government facilities, serve as more than just backdrops. They are integral to the story's mood and themes. The cinematography, with its mix of handheld realism and precise framing, keeps the audience engaged and on edge. Lighting, color, and sound all work together to heighten the tension, ensuring that viewers are fully immersed in Banning's desperate fight for survival. What sets this film apart from typical action thrillers is the way it uses these cinematic elements not just for spectacle but for storytelling. Every shadow, every flicker of light, every carefully composed shot contributes to the film's overarching atmosphere of danger and paranoia. Whether it's through the shaky, visceral camera work of a brutal fight scene or the eerie stillness of a forest hiding unseen enemies, Angel Has Fallen proves that action movies can be just as visually thoughtful as they are thrilling. It's not just about explosions and gunfights, it's about how those elements are framed, lit, and shot to make the audience feel every ounce of tension. The making of Angel Has Fallen was as intense behind the scenes as it was on screen. From grueling physical demands on the actors to unexpected setbacks that forced last-minute changes, the film's production was a testament to the resilience and creativity of the cast and crew. But it wasn't all serious. There were plenty of light-hearted moments, pranks, and surprising friendships that made the experience unforgettable. Gerard Butler, who reprised his role as Secret Service agent Mike Banning, had already been through 2 explosive installments of the Has Fallen series. But this time, the challenges were even greater. Unlike the first 2 films, which were shot primarily in urban settings, Angel Has Fallen required Butler to navigate rough, untamed terrain, engage in grueling hand-to-hand combat sequences, and endure some of the most physically demanding stunts of his career. And just as the cameras started rolling, an unexpected injury nearly derailed the entire production. During pre-production, Butler suffered a motorcycle accident that left him with multiple injuries, including a torn bicep and a fractured foot. With weeks of training ahead of him, the injury could have delayed filming significantly. However, instead of postponing production, Butler pushed through, modifying his training to accommodate his injuries while still preparing for the physically demanding role. His dedication didn't go unnoticed. Director Rick Roman Waugh later admitted that Butler's pain was evident in several scenes, adding an unintentional but authentic layer of exhaustion to Banning's character. Some of the film's more brutal fight scenes required Butler to take repeated hits and falls, and the crew had to ensure that his injuries weren't worsened in the process. Nick Nolte's involvement in the film added a different kind of challenge, one that the crew quickly learned to adapt to. Known for his gruff, unpredictable personality, Nolte brought an energy to the set that kept everyone on their toes. His portrayal of Clay Banning, Mike's estranged, off-the-grid father, was one of the highlights of the film, and much of his performance felt so natural because it was. Many of Nolte's lines were improvised, particularly in the scenes where he rants about government conspiracies and survival tactics. Butler later joked that half of Nolte's dialogue was just him talking about real-life theories he believed in, and the director decided to keep much of it in the final cut because it fit so perfectly with the character. The interactions between Butler and Nolte off-camera were just as entertaining as their on-screen dynamic. Despite playing a distant, emotionally closed-off father and son in the film, the two developed a hilarious friendship behind the scenes. Nolte would frequently sneak up behind Butler between takes and mutter cryptic things just to throw him off. One time, after filming an intense action scene, Nolte approached Butler and whispered, "You think any of this is real?" before walking away without an explanation. One of the biggest challenges during production was the drone attack sequence, which served as a turning point in the film. The sequence required dozens of visual effects shots, precise choreography, and complex camera movements to make the attack feel as chaotic and shocking as possible. But before any of the effects could be added, the crew had to shoot the scene practically, which meant coordinating a massive outdoor set with pyrotechnics, stunt performers, and carefully timed explosions. The biggest hurdle? The weather. The drone attack was filmed in an open-air location, and while the crew had anticipated some environmental challenges, they hadn't expected the unpredictable shifts in wind and light. Some takes were ruined because unexpected gusts of wind knocked over set pieces, while others had to be res-hot due to sudden cloud cover that changed the lighting. One day, a storm rolled in just as the crew was preparing for a crucial take, forcing them to shut down production for hours. Director Rick Roman Waugh later said that it was one of the most frustrating parts of the shoot, but looking back, it made the final scene even more rewarding because of how much effort went into pulling it off. Another unexpected problem arose during one of the film's most intense action sequences, the semi-truck chase. In this scene, Banning is being transported in a prison convoy when an ambush leads to a high-speed pursuit involving an 18-wheeler. Filming this sequence was a logistical nightmare. The production had secured a closed-off highway for the scene, but coordinating the movement of multiple vehicles while capturing dynamic camera angles required extensive planning. During one take, Butler was performing his own stunts, jumping from one moving vehicle to another, when a miscalculation nearly resulted in disaster. He lost his footing on a metal railing and almost fell under the wheels of the truck. Fortunately, the stunt team had rehearsed safety protocols meticulously, and Butler was pulled to safety just in time. When the dust settled, he laughed it off, but the crew made sure to adjust the setup for the next take to avoid any further close calls. Behind the scenes, the camaraderie among the cast and crew helped keep morale high despite the demanding nature of the shoot. Jada Pinkett Smith, who played FBI agent Helen Thompson, brought a level of professionalism and focus to her role, but she also had a playful side that caught the crew off guard. During one particularly long night shoot, she organized an impromptu dance-off between takes to keep everyone's energy up. Butler joined in, attempting to outdance his co-star, but according to several crew members, his moves were questionable at best. Morgan Freeman, who reprised his role as President Alan Trumbull, was another source of levity on set. Despite playing the highest authority in the film, he never took himself too seriously behind the camera. One of his favorite pastimes during downtime was messing with the younger cast members, pretending to forget his lines on purpose just to see their reactions. "You really think I don't remember this stuff?" he once teased after flawlessly delivering a monologue on the next take. The film's explosive finale, which saw Banning taking on the mercenaries inside a hospital, was one of the most complex sequences to shoot. The combination of fire, gunfights, and collapsing set pieces made it a technical nightmare. One day, an unexpected fire alarm went off in the middle of a take, forcing the entire set to be evacuated. The culprit? A misfiring smoke machine that triggered the building's emergency system. It took hours for the crew to reset everything, but in the end, the scene turned out to be one of the film's most intense moments. Perhaps the most rewarding part of the behind-the-scenes experience was seeing the final film come together. Despite the injuries, weather delays, and unexpected challenges, the cast and crew poured everything they had into making Angel Has Fallen one of the most exciting installments in the franchise. Looking back, Butler described it as the most personal film of the series for him, not just because of the physical toll it took, but because it allowed him to explore a different side of his character. What made Angel Has Fallen unique wasn't just its action. It was the way it combined high-octane sequences with personal stakes, and that same energy was reflected behind the scenes. Every explosion, every fight scene, every chase had a story behind it, and the dedication of the entire team ensured that those moments made it to the screen in the most thrilling way possible. Angel Has Fallen is more than just a high-octane action thriller filled with explosions, shootouts, and adrenaline-pumping chases. Beneath its intense action sequences lies a web of deep and compelling themes, ones that elevate the story beyond a simple tale of survival. The film dives into ideas of redemption, betrayal, the burden of duty, and the psychological toll of warfare. Through its characters, cinematography, and subtle symbolism, Angel Has Fallen crafts a narrative that resonates on an emotional level, making it more than just another action-packed blockbuster. At its core, the film is a story about redemption. Mike Banning, played by Gerard Butler, is not the same man he was in Olympus Has Fallen or London Has Fallen. This time, we see a protagonist weighed down by years of violence, physical exhaustion, and the creeping realization that he might not be invincible after all. His struggle with chronic pain and prescription medication is a recurring motif throughout the film, symbolizing the burden that years of service have placed upon him. The once indestructible Secret Service agent is now forced to confront his mortality, making this installment in the franchise the most personal one yet. Banning's journey of redemption is framed through his relationship with his father, Clay Banning, a Vietnam War veteran who has spent decades in self-imposed exile. Clay, played by Nick Nolte, is a symbol of a past generation of warriors, men who served their country only to be left behind, forgotten, and disillusioned. His character represents the trauma that lingers long after the battle has ended, a stark warning of what Mike Banning himself could become if he doesn't find a way to reclaim his life outside of duty. Their dynamic is riddled with tension and unspoken resentment, but as the story unfolds, their relationship becomes a key part of Banning's path to redemption. Betrayal is another dominant theme in Angel Has Fallen, and it manifests not just in the plot but also in the visual storytelling. Wade Jennings, Banning's old friend turned enemy, embodies the ultimate betrayal, not just of a friend, but of everything a soldier is supposed to stand for. The idea that a trusted ally could turn against their own country for profit adds an unsettling layer to the film's conflict. Jennings' betrayal also speaks to a larger theme within the movie, the corruption of institutions. The hospital assassination attempt on President Trumbull serves as a chilling metaphor for this theme. The very people who are supposed to protect him, men trained alongside Banning, are the ones who turn against him. It's a stark reminder that the most dangerous enemies are often the ones hiding in plain sight. The use of drones in the assassination attempt is also symbolic. Unlike traditional combat, drones remove the human element from war, making death impersonal and detached. The film subtly critiques this, suggesting that warfare has evolved into something more mechanical, with technology replacing the very values of honor and loyalty that soldiers like Banning once stood for. Duty versus self-preservation is another key theme that runs through the film. From the opening scenes, Banning is faced with a dilemma. His body is failing him, but he refuses to walk away from his duty to protect the president. His refusal to acknowledge his own limitations is both a strength and a weakness. Throughout the film, we see him struggle with the physical consequences of years of service, but more than that, we see him struggle with the idea of stepping away from the fight. This theme is amplified through his interactions with his wife, Leah. She represents the life he could have, a life away from constant danger, a future where he is a husband and father first, rather than a warrior. But for much of the film, Banning is unable to fully embrace that possibility. His sense of duty is both his defining trait and his greatest curse. The setting of Angel Has Fallen plays a crucial role in reinforcing these themes. Unlike its predecessors, which took place in bustling urban environments like Washington, D.C. and London, this film takes Banning away from the halls of power and into the wild. The shift to the wilderness is not just a change in scenery. It reflects Banning's own internal exile. When he is on the run, framed for an assassination attempt, he is quite literally cast out of the system he once served. His return to the woods, particularly his father's off-grid hideout, is symbolic of his journey towards self-discovery. Clay's bunker, filled with decades of survivalist paranoia, represents the extreme version of what happens when someone fully disconnects from the world. The walls covered in conspiracy theories, the rigged explosives surrounding the property. All of it serves as a physical manifestation of Clay's belief that the world has abandoned him. In contrast, Banning's struggle throughout the film is his fight to avoid that fate. He doesn't want to become his father, a man consumed by bitterness and isolation. The setting reinforces this inner battle, as Banning must navigate both the literal and metaphorical wilderness to clear his name and find his way back home. The film's use of lighting and color further emphasizes its themes. In scenes where Banning is in control, such as his training sequences early in the film or his moments of strategic planning, the lighting is sharp and clear. However, as soon as he is framed for the assassination attempt, the lighting shifts. The scenes become darker, with shadows obscuring parts of his face, reinforcing the idea that his identity has been compromised. The nighttime chase sequences, the rain-soaked streets, and the dimly lit interiors of the FBI interrogation room all visually represent his descent into uncertainty. One of the most striking uses of symbolism in the film is the repeated imagery of falling. The title Angel Has Fallen is not just a reference to the presidential assassination attempt, it also represents Banning himself. He is the angel who has fallen from grace, betrayed by his own government and hunted by those he once called allies. The literal act of falling is also seen throughout the movie. The drone attack sends bodies plummeting into the water, Banning himself is thrown from high places multiple times, and in the final confrontation, we see an enemy fall to their death in a moment of poetic justice. The repeated motif of falling serves as a constant reminder that no one is untouchable, not even the most skilled protector. The film's resolution ties these themes together in a way that feels both satisfying and introspective. Banning's decision to finally accept help, to acknowledge that he can't carry the burden alone, is a significant moment of growth for his character. His reunion with Leah and their child signifies that he has finally found a reason to step away from the fight, even if only for a moment. And his reconciliation with his father suggests that he has learned to embrace his past without letting it define his future. In the end, Angel Has Fallen is a film about endurance, trust, and the consequences of a life lived in service to others. It's a story about what happens when a protector becomes the hunted, when loyalty is tested, and when the weight of responsibility threatens to break even the strongest of men. Through its themes and symbolism, the film goes beyond the standard action thriller formula, delivering a story that is both exhilarating and deeply human. Angel Has Fallen is not just an action-packed thriller, it's a masterclass in modern filmmaking techniques. The high-octane sequences, intimate character moments, and breathtaking visuals come together through a combination of expert cinematography, editing, sound design, and special effects. Every gunfight, every chase scene, and every quiet moment of tension is carefully crafted to keep audiences engaged, making it clear that behind the explosions and gunfire, there's a meticulous level of craftsmanship at play. The film's action sequences rely on a blend of practical effects and CGI, with director Rick Roman Waugh prioritizing realism wherever possible. Unlike some action films that lean heavily on digital effects, Angel Has Fallen uses CGI sparingly, ensuring that most of the explosions, shootouts, and stunts have a tangible weight to them. This approach keeps the action grounded, making every bullet impact and every collision feel visceral. The drone attack in the opening act is a perfect example. While the drones themselves are computer-generated, the destruction they cause is largely practical, with real debris, fire, and explosive charges used to heighten the intensity of the scene. Camera work plays a crucial role in shaping the film's atmosphere. Unlike traditional wide-angle action shots, Angel Has Fallen embraces handheld cinematography for many of its key sequences, especially those involving close combat. This technique creates an immersive, almost documentary-like feel, placing the audience right in the middle of the chaos. When Banning is running for his life, framed for an assassination attempt, the shaky, frenetic movements of the camera mirror his desperation and confusion. The cinematography effectively places viewers inside Banning's perspective, making them feel his paranoia, his exhaustion, and his drive to survive. One particularly striking sequence is the nighttime chase through the woods. Here, the cinematography shifts from the gritty handheld style to long, tracking shots that showcase Banning's agility and knowledge of the terrain. The darkness, punctuated by bursts of muzzle flashes and explosions, creates a visually stunning contrast, emphasizing both the beauty and danger of his surroundings. Infrared and thermal imaging are also used in certain scenes, giving the audience a glimpse into the tactical vision of both Banning and his enemies. Editing is another crucial element that enhances the film's pacing and tension. The cuts are sharp and precise, ensuring that the action remains fluid without becoming disorienting. Unlike some modern action films that overuse quick cuts to the point of confusion, Angel Has Fallen balances its edits carefully. When Banning is in a gunfight, the camera doesn't cut away every second. It lingers just long enough to show the impact of his actions before moving to the next moment of chaos. This keeps the audience engaged without overwhelming them with too many rapid shifts. The film's editing also plays a significant role in shaping its emotional beats. In quieter moments, such as Banning's conversations with his father, Clay, the editing slows down, allowing the actors' performances to take center stage. These scenes are edited with longer takes and subtle cuts, ensuring that the weight of their words lands with full impact. By adjusting the pacing of the edits depending on the scene's emotional intensity, the film creates a dynamic rhythm that keeps the audience invested from start to finish. Sound design is one of Angel Has Fallen's strongest assets, playing a pivotal role in immersing the audience in the action. Every gunshot, explosion, and impact is meticulously crafted to sound authentic. The echo of gunfire in open landscapes, the deep rumble of detonations, and the sharp clang of bullets striking metal. All of these elements contribute to the film's intense soundscape. The use of directional audio further enhances the realism. For example, when Banning is in the midst of a shootout, the sound shifts depending on where the bullets are coming from, creating a three-dimensional auditory experience. One particularly effective use of sound is in the drone attack sequence. The high-pitched whirring of the drones builds tension long before they strike, creating an eerie atmosphere that unsettles both the characters and the audience. The moment the drones unleash their payload, the sound mix shifts dramatically. Sudden bursts of explosions, the roar of flames, and the panicked shouts of those caught in the blast make the scene feel overwhelming. The decision to use brief moments of silence amidst the chaos, such as when Banning is momentarily disoriented by a blast, adds to the impact, making the sound design one of the film's most powerful tools. The film's musical score, composed by Gerard Butler, is another crucial component that enhances its emotional and narrative beats. The music blends orchestral elements with electronic and percussive sounds, creating a modern yet timeless action score. During intense sequences, the score is filled with pounding drums and escalating rhythms, amplifying the tension and energy of the moment. In contrast, during scenes of introspection, such as Banning's interactions with his family, the music becomes softer, using strings and ambient tones to highlight the emotional weight of these moments. The score subtly reinforces the film's themes, ensuring that the audience feels every twist and turn on a deeper level. Box office performance is a critical aspect of Angel Has Fallen's legacy. Despite being the third entry in the Fallen franchise, the film managed to exceed expectations, proving that audiences still had a strong appetite for the series. Released in August 2019, the film faced competition from major summer blockbusters, but its strong marketing campaign and loyal fanbase propelled it to success. The film debuted at number 1 at the box office, earning over $21 million in its opening weekend. This was a testament to the enduring appeal of the franchise and the star power of Gerard Butler. Over the course of its theatrical run, Angel Has Fallen grossed over $146 million worldwide against a production budget of approximately $40 million, making it a financial success. The film's profitability was further bolstered by strong international markets, where action films with high-stakes narratives tend to perform well. Marketing played a significant role in the film's success. The trailers emphasized the intense action, the emotional stakes, and the mystery surrounding Banning's betrayal. Social media campaigns, exclusive behind-the-scenes featurettes, and interviews with the cast all helped generate buzz leading up to the release. The decision to position Angel Has Fallen as not just another action film, but one with a deeper character-driven narrative, resonated with audiences who were looking for something more than just explosions and gunfights. The film's success also reaffirmed Gerard Butler's status as a bankable action star. His portrayal of Mike Banning has become iconic within the action genre, and his ability to bring both physical intensity and emotional depth to the role has made him a fan favorite. The chemistry between Butler and co-stars like Morgan Freeman and Nick Nolte further added to the film's appeal, giving audiences characters they could invest in beyond just the action sequences. One of the key factors behind Angel Has Fallen's strong performance was its accessibility. Unlike some action franchises that require extensive knowledge of previous films, this installment was structured in a way that allowed new viewers to jump in without feeling lost. The film provided enough backstory to establish Banning's character and history without overwhelming newcomers, making it an ideal entry point for audiences unfamiliar with the series. In retrospect, Angel Has Fallen stands as a testament to how strong filmmaking techniques and smart storytelling can elevate an action film beyond mere spectacle. Its use of practical effects, immersive cinematography, dynamic editing, and powerful sound design all contribute to an experience that is both thrilling and emotionally engaging. The film's success at the box office further reinforces the idea that audiences crave action films with heart, proving that when done right, a franchise can continue to evolve and remain relevant even after multiple installments. The success of Angel Has Fallen is rooted in more than just its explosive action sequences and gripping storyline. It's the cast that truly brings the film to life. With an ensemble of talented actors delivering emotionally charged performances, the film manages to feel both thrilling and deeply personal. From the lead actor's dedication to the role to the supporting characters who add depth and dimension, each performance contributes to making the movie a standout in the action genre. At the heart of it all is Gerard Butler, reprising his role as Secret Service agent Mike Banning. By the time Angel Has Fallen hit the big screen, Butler had firmly established himself as the face of the franchise. His portrayal of Banning, a relentless yet deeply human protector, had already won over audiences in Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. But this time, Butler brought something even more layered to the character. In interviews, he spoke about how he wanted to explore Banning's vulnerabilities, not just his physical endurance but also his mental and emotional struggles. Unlike in previous installments, where Banning seemed almost indestructible, Angel Has Fallen presents him as a man battling years of wear and tear, both physically and psychologically. This added dimension resonated with audiences who had followed his journey, making them feel the weight of his trials like never before. Butler's commitment to the role extended beyond just acting. He threw himself into the physically demanding stunts and training. Butler's commitment to the role extended beyond just acting. He threw himself into the physically demanding stunts and training. He spent months conditioning himself for the action sequences, working with military advisors to refine his combat techniques. Many of the hand-to-hand fight scenes were performed without a stunt double, with Butler insisting on making the sequences as raw and realistic as possible. This dedication to authenticity did not go unnoticed, with both fans and critics praising his performance as one of the most intense of his career. Opposite Butler is Morgan Freeman, who once again steps into the role of Alan Trumbull, now serving as the President of the United States. Freeman's presence adds a level of gravitas to the film, and his chemistry with Butler is one of its strongest elements. The moments between Banning and Trumbull are more than just political exchanges. They are filled with trust, tension, and mutual respect. Freeman, in interviews, expressed his admiration for the franchise, stating that what drew him back was not just the action but the depth of the characters and the evolving story. Fans were particularly excited to see more of Trumbull in this installment, as his role had been more limited in the previous films. One of the most notable additions to the cast is Nick Nolte as Clay Banning, Mike's estranged father. Nolte's portrayal of a reclusive, paranoid Vietnam War veteran adds a new emotional layer to the story. The father-son dynamic between Nolte and Butler is one of the highlights of the film, providing both comedic relief and heartfelt moments. Their scenes together strike a balance between tense family drama and unlikely teamwork, culminating in one of the film's most memorable action sequences, when Clay uses his knowledge of the land and a series of homemade explosives to fend off their attackers. In interviews, Butler and Nolte shared their experiences working together, with Butler admitting that Nolte's unpredictable energy made every scene exciting. Nolte, in turn, spoke about how much fun he had crafting Clay's eccentric personality, noting that playing an old survivalist was one of the most enjoyable roles of his career. Danny Huston, cast as the film's primary antagonist, Wade Jennings, brings a sense of betrayal and personal stakes to the conflict. Unlike faceless villains in many action films, Jennings is a former friend and comrade of Banning, making the tension between them all the more palpable. Huston's performance is chilling yet charismatic. He doesn't play Jennings as a stereotypical villain, but rather as a man who believes he is justified in his actions. Huston mentioned in interviews that he enjoyed playing a character who wasn't outright evil but rather shaped by his experiences and disappointments. His scenes with Butler, particularly their final confrontation, were among the most intense in the film, with both actors committing fully to the physical and emotional weight of the moment. Jada Pinkett Smith also makes an impression as FBI agent Helen Thompson, a no-nonsense investigator determined to bring Banning to justice after he is framed for the attack on the president. Smith brings intelligence and authority to the role, making Thompson a formidable force in the story. In interviews, she spoke about how she enjoyed playing a character who is both strong and complex, someone who follows the evidence rather than just blindly believing in Banning's guilt. Her arc throughout the film, starting as Banning's pursuer and later realizing the truth, adds a fresh dynamic to the plot. Behind the scenes, the camaraderie among the cast was evident. Despite the intensity of the film, there were plenty of light-hearted moments during production. Butler, known for his sense of humor, often played pranks on his co-stars, keeping the set lively even during grueling shooting schedules. Nolte, in particular, was a source of constant entertainment, with crew members recounting stories of his improvisations that often left everyone, including Butler, trying to hold back laughter. Audience reception to the film was overwhelmingly positive. While some critics viewed it as just another entry in a typical action franchise, fans embraced it for what it was, a thrilling, character-driven ride with heart. Many viewers praised the emotional depth added to Banning's character, with some saying it was the most personal installment in the franchise. The father-son relationship between Mike and Clay Banning was a particular favorite, with audiences loving the combination of humor and heartfelt moments Nolte brought to the film. The action sequences were another highlight for audiences, with many calling them some of the best in the series. The drone attack, the chase through the woods, and the final showdown between Banning and Jennings were frequently cited as standout moments. Fans also appreciated the practical effects used in many of the stunts, making the action feel more grounded compared to the CGI-heavy spectacles of other modern action films. Reviews from general audiences were largely positive, with many expressing their excitement over seeing Butler return to one of his most iconic roles. Social media buzzed with praise, with viewers calling it a non-stop thrill ride and the best Fallen movie yet. The film's box office success further proved its appeal, showing that audiences still had a strong appetite for the franchise. Ultimately, Angel Has Fallen succeeded because of the strength of its cast. Butler's dedication, Nolte's memorable performance, Freeman's commanding presence, and Huston's layered villain all contributed to making the film more than just another action flick. The interviews and behind-the-scenes stories only reinforced how much effort and passion went into bringing the movie to life, proving that when a cast truly invests in a project, it resonates with audiences in a way that goes beyond just the explosions and gunfire. After a relentless ride through explosions, betrayals, and emotional reckonings, Angel Has Fallen stands as a gripping addition to the Fallen franchise. One that isn't just about bullets flying and bodies dropping, but also about the scars left behind, both physical and emotional. Through its intense action sequences, a more personal take on Mike Banning's journey, and a fresh infusion of character dynamics, the film managed to carve out its own space, proving that even in a well-worn genre, there's always room for reinvention. Looking back at everything we've explored, it's clear that this installment brought something different to the table. Unlike its predecessors, which thrived on the high-stakes spectacle of global terrorism and large-scale destruction, Angel Has Fallen chose a more intimate approach. Instead of fighting off international threats on foreign soil, Banning found himself hunted on his own turf, betrayed by those he once called allies, and forced to turn to the one person he never thought he'd need, his estranged father. This shift in focus gave the film an emotional weight that set it apart from standard action fare, grounding it in a story of survival, redemption, and trust.